Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Glad you caught me right here in the middle of my study session. Alright, so once again, this particular video is not exactly about understanding torts, 7th edition, but this particular video is going to be about police duty to protect and the public duty doctrine. Okay? So what does that mean? The police have zero obligation to protect you. You're like, what? No, my tax dollars go to them. My dear, dear person. Okay, so if this is your first time to the channel, don't forget to hit that bell, like, and subscribe. My website is blacksite32.com. You can find out additional information, how to get started as a U.S. national, and offers and discounts, everything from meat to weight loss discounts are on there, so check those out if you can. Alright, otherwise there's plenty of other goodies, so bumble around and see what you see. I've been told it looks pretty nice now, so it's good. Improve. Alright, so anyway, long story short, let's cut to the chase. Let's get through the malarkey. Okay? Washington, D.C. is a territory. All the states incorporated through Washington, D.C., ergo anything incorporated through them is under federal jurisdiction. Now, for instance, you can have New York State, and then there's State of New York. Those are different jurisdictions. One's state and one's federal. Okay. Well, almost every business nowadays has incorporated under their state. And if their state is incorporated, then that state is under federal jurisdiction, and they're under the UCC, which is where a lot of these things come in at. Okay? So guess who's also under that federal jurisdiction and the UCC, whether they know it, like it, or not. They are. Most of them are not taught this stuff, so they're going to look at it as meh, phooey. But that's because they're too lazy to actually do the research. It's all right there. Follow the trail. Follow the money. All right, so let's get to it. So that particular, they're operating through all of them, going back up the ladder to under the United States, which is a corporation. So that corporation is pushing on people who are U.S. citizens their internal corporate policies, and legally they have no obligation to protect you but to carry out their duties as such. Okay, so now that you have a little background on that, let's get into what it says here. Now, I'm not going to read the whole section, but we'll start off by saying this is what it says right here. So if you don't believe me that I'm reading, it's right here. Okay, highlighted it. I got a special highlighting pen. I can do that. Alright, so special duty issues often arise when the plaintiff seeks to recover from a government entity such as a police department, school district, or a public transit authority. Initially, governmental liability was rare due to widespread recognition of governmental immunity. While governmental immunity still exists, it has shrunk dramatically. In negligence actions against governmental actors, I like how I use actors, the element of duty is now often used to limit the scope of governmental liability. Under the public duty doctrine, a government actor performing improperly is not usually liable to individuals harmed by the misperformance, because any duty owed is limited to the public at large rather than to any specific individual. So they're telling you right here that they do not have, that's why you don't see "to serve and protect" on the back of the cars anymore. You don't see a peace officer, peacekeeper, because they're LEOs, law enforcement officers. Maybe like you going to Pepsi Cola and dealing with a rent-a-cop inside of there, but on a larger scale. And these guys have guns and protection of their corporation. But here's the thing, whether it's police officer or a judge or any of them, if they act the split second they defy something that's legal, they knowingly or not, they could be acting like, oh, I know what I'm doing, this is legal, and it's not legal. They lose their immunity right on the spot. Bam, they are not protected. They are now exposed to public prosecution, jail time, torts, all that stuff. They are only protected if also you are a U.S. citizen. If they damage anybody who's foreign at any point in time, tell them to kiss your pass, Seabass, because they're not protected. All right, now it becomes a state issue. So as long as they are acting within the law, their statutes and rules, and you are a U.S. citizen, and do not defy any of their own rules and statutes in accordance to how they're supposed to perform their duty, they are protected. The moment they don't, they're not. Okay, so that's once again where torts come in at, because you're going to hit them in their pocketbook and go after them for all types of different damages, even defaming your character, your name, mental stress, mental anguish. All that is up for grabs to be paid. All right, you can send them your fee schedule with the proper forms. All right, so police duty. Police departments are typically not liable for failing to protect individual citizens. In one influential case, no duty was found owing to a plaintiff who had called the police on several occasions because her former boyfriend had threatened her with serious physical injury. The police did not come to her aid, and the plaintiff suffered injuries when acid was thrown on her face by the assailant hired by her former boyfriend. In justifying the denial of duty to an admittedly foreseeable plaintiff, the New York High Court explained, the amount of protection that may be provided is limited by the resources of the community and by considered legislative executive decision as to how those resources may be deployed. For the courts to proclaim a new general duty to protect for the protection of the law of tort, even to those who may have a particular seeker of protection based on specific hazards, could and would inevitably determine how to limit police resources of the community should be allocated and without predictable limits. Okay, so this means essentially if you do not have a court order against somebody, they are under no obligation to protect you. So they do not have to risk their lives to save you or protect you or do any of that. If you have a court order, those resources then say yes, they have to do the things and put themselves in harm's way. Which, for those people out there, male or female, who get abused and attacked and whatever else, you guys don't do a court order or a restraining order or whatever else. I mean, even still, it's just a piece of paper, so get yourself a gat, get you a thing, get you a dog, get you both. Keep a knife by your bedside, whatever you got to do, under your pillow, whatever. I mean, that's how I live on here on the north side. You got to do them things, right? So unless you have those things in place, and by that, legally, a restraining order or whatever else, they're not obligated to do those things. Now there are some good cops, by all means. Definitely more good cops than bad cops. And judges and things of that nature. But they're under no obligation, no duty to protect you or keep you safe. So when they come a knocking and bothering you, they're just filling a job, a function, to get their paycheck. They're not your friends. They're not there to give you a hug and a kiss. Now, some of them may, but like I said, there's a lot more good ones. But the problem, I guess, with a lot of us is that, like, if we can't, I'm going to step into the citizen role for a moment. As a U.S. citizen, let's just say, if your role is not to protect me, but you want me to snitch on somebody in the street or somebody I roll with, but you guys won't snitch on the other cops because it's protect the blue and it's the blue line of, because otherwise they look at the good cops for telling on the bad cops to internal affairs as, oh, you're snitching. Come on, man. That's so you want us to snitch so you guys can get paid, but when we snitch on the street, you don't have any obligation to protect us, and then we get thanged, and they're like, oh, well, you shouldn't have been a snitch, and you shouldn't have been, but we need the good cops out there to contact internal affairs for those bad ones out there, okay, who like to act as trolls on people's channels and whatnot. So the whole thing is there are some good cops. You have to keep in mind that they do have a tough job, and that even if you guys have to drop an anonymous letter or note into internal to report the bad cops, that does a lot for us, because a lot of our stuff, as you guys know, because you guys know how it works on the inside, I've got friends and family who are cops, some of those complaints get tossed out or don't get filed properly or whatever else. And even if the cop is cold busted, he still has a lot of immunity, or he just gets transferred. And that's us on the outside. So what chance do we have without good cops on the inside? So do your duty, okay? All right, that being said, guys, that's about it for this particular video. Just wanted to give you a little bit of information. Some of them ain't your friends, and even if they are your friends, a lot of them still have taken an oath and a duty to back the blue first before you. And it just told you right here in this book of law stuff, they have no duty to protect you. So can you file a tort? Yes, for places where you've been damaged, but even more so if you have a restraining order, because then they have a duty to protect you. But if not, yeah. So as a foreign national, American national, national of the United States of America, if you're damaged when out traveling under the Supreme Court, constitutional law of right to travel, file your torts. Hit them in their pockets. And if they do it personally and they act outside of it, you can get the individual officer acting outside of his duty and outside of his power, judge, whoever else, and all of them together. I mean, the bailiff was a part of it. He was there. The tow truck company, they came and got it by being called by the cops, so they're in it. All this is RICO. And the secretary back there, receptionist, whatever, all of them are liable. Anybody in the courtroom. Okay? Talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Stay out of trouble. And don't file frivolous BS claims or whatever else. Self-govern. Stay out of their way. And mind your business. If they get in the way, speak quietly, but carry a big stick. Talk to you guys later. Don't forget to check out the information down below and on blacksite32.com. Support the channel by any means possible. Get it done. Talk to you later.